Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today's video is round 2 of our look at Amalgam Comics. This was basically season 2 of Amalgam, about a year after the first round. DC and Marvel did it again, and they put out 12 different titles, though some are sequels to the first series, some are brand new, and some of these are just very silly, which is why I like them. Unfortunately, there's no Brother Voodoo the Geek. That's what I was really hoping for. But maybe that'll be in the third Amalgam series if they ever bring him back. Let's check these out. So I believe this is 1997 we're up to. And we start off with Generation Hex. Yes, that's very silly sounding, I know. And but this is written by Peter Milligan. So it's a pretty decent story. Pencils by Adam Polina and inks by Mark Morales. And the shtick of this is that it's the Old West, Jonah Hex, and other Western characters mashed up with Marvel's mutants. So just a bizarre idea. So we start off, we see a sign to this town. Welcome to humanity, the nicest town in the West. No malforms. So in this world, that's what they call mutants, malforms, back in the 1800s. So we see a little flashback story. We see a young boy named Jonah Hex, who's a mix of Jonah Hex and Chamber, a mutant from Generation X, the Marvel comic. He rides into this new town with his ma and pa. And this town only isn't very hostile to malforms. They just seem to hate outsiders all around. So as soon as they move there, everyone's mean to them. Stores close down when they come into shop. They won't even sell to them. They're treating them like, they are malforms. But they just really don't like them. So one night, Jonah's mother goes into labor. The father says, "Go get the doctor." He says, "Pa, we don't have any money." He says, "Just tell him it's life or death." When he goes to the doctor, Jonah, the doctor says, "Hey, I'm not a charity worker. Why don't you try the other doctor in town?" And the other doctor in town's a horse doctor. Even the horse doctor turns him down. He's in a saloon, and he says, not only he turns him down, but he insults his mother. Jonah kind of gets in his face, but he's just a little kid, so they throw him out of the bar. When he runs home, his mother and the infant are dead because they lacked medical care. After that, his father becomes a pathetic drunk. He's a broken man. And the town still is just completely hostile to them. And one night, the young children of the village go and they burn Jonah's house down. His father dies in the flames. And Jonah, who has been feeling this force welling up inside of him for the past year or so, all of a sudden it comes out. And this is that Marvel character, Chamber. He's almost like Cyclops, except when his energy comes out, it doesn't cleanly come out through his eyeballs. It blows off half of his face. So that's what happens here. He runs away. And he grows up to be the outlaw Jonah Hex. So now we're back in, flash forward to the present, if you will, even though it's 18-something. So the first character we meet here is Marshall Bat Trask, who is Batlash and Trask, who created the Sentinels, who hates mutants. So this Bat Trask is not a nice guy like Batlash. He hates malforms. And he's addressing this crowd, and very conveniently, he gives us a lowdown on all of Generation Hex. We have Madame Banshee. She's Madame 44 mixed with Banshee. Johnny Random, who is Johnny Thunder mixed with Random. I don't even know who a lot of these characters are. I assume that's a mutant. Skin Hunter, who's a mix of Scalp Hunter and Skin, another mutant I don't know. The White Whip, who is the White Queen, and the Whip, who I is some DC character from the West. Retribution, who's a mix of... Actually, I forgot who Retribution's a mix of. Let me see my list here. This is... Oh, I can't find him on the list, sorry. I don't think it's a big deal, though. I don't think anyone really cares. But she's basically, once again, a mix of a mutant and a DC Western hero. Here we go, Firehair and Marvel's Penance. Don't know who that is. This one I thought was kind of clever. The Twins Trigger. And they're the Trigger twins, the DC Western heroes, two brothers who are twins. But they mash them up with North Star and Aurora from Alpha Flight, who were twins. And if you ever read those comics, Aurora is kind of this tightly wound, very prim and proper woman, but she also has this wild second personality. She's a split personality. And in this one, they make that split personality Cinnamon, who is that devil-may-care DC Western hero, female hero. So I thought that was kind of it's like a triple amalgamation there. Bat Trask tells the crowd that I've got something that'll take care of these malforms. Now we cut away to a train. Generation Hex are robbing the train. And Jonah Hex thinks to himself, he says out loud, he says, this is a little too easy, this job. And when they open up the car that supposedly has all the money in it, these guys come out. It's a trap. These are the Razor Men. These are the Sentinel-like creatures that Trask created, though they're mixed with the Scissor Men from DC's Doom Patrol. They kind of end up looking like Scud the Disposable Assassin very much. A lot. So kind of a weird design there, but I guess it's the Old West. Robots weren't even around then. So they attack Generation Hex. Generation Hex hightail it out of there because they can't fight these guys. We have a little note here that the genius that enabled Trask to design the Razormen came from a subtle mutation in his brain. So just like the Trask in the Marvel Comics, he's actually a mutant, even though he hates them so much. So Generation X hit the trail, and these Razormen are hot on their heels, or hoofs, I should say, the whole time. They can't escape these guys. They're robots. They don't need to rest. So they're kind of getting worn down to a nub, just constantly trying to escape these guys, trying to keep one step ahead. They start fighting amongst themselves, but then finally, Jonah Hex has a plan. Because it turns out they're very near the town of Humanity where Jonah Hex grew up. So all of a sudden, we see the Generation X characters attack the town of Humanity. They're really like leaning into the villainy, and they're threatening little children and telling everyone how they're going to kill them all. And then this guy shows up. Okay, it's obviously Jonah Hex with a mask on. You know, pretending to be a human, a normal human. And he says, I'm going to run you malforms out of town. Leave these good people alone. And he shoots at all of them. The ones that can take bullets, he actually shoots. The other ones, it's a bit of theater going on. And the rest of Generation Hex ride off, cursing the stranger. Everyone in town loves this guy. He's the hero. All the women start flirting with him. The business owners offer him free stuff. And then they even ask him if he'll stay on as sheriff, because they need one. And he's like, well, I'm sorry, I gotta move on. But I should warn you, there's even more heinous malforms on the way here. I saw them. And they panic, and they're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Please help us. Can you at least give us some help? And he's like, well, actually, I can tell you what to do. I got a plan for you. So the next day, Generation Hex ride back into Malform, and they've changed the sign. I'm sorry, did I say they ride back into Humanity? They've changed their sign to Malform Town. Welcome. Malforms welcome. Normal folk keep out. And kind of ludicrously, they've all like glued doll heads to their cheeks and stuff, and so they look like, they're malforms. It's kind of funny, these goofy designs they make for themselves, these costumes. So Generation X say, oh, this is full of malforms just like us. Let's terrorize someplace else then. So the townspeople think their plan totally worked. But then, of course, the whole plan is based on, they know that the Razormen were right on their tails. So the Razormen ride into humanity, and they look around and they see all these idiots with their third eyes glued on their forehead, and they're like, meh, malform detected. And they massacre everyone in the town. I love it. I forgot to mention that when Jono Hex was walking through the town, he recognized all the fuckers who basically led to his parents getting killed. And it took everything in him not to just rip their kidneys out from their buttholes. But he gets his revenge through a more crafty way. And as he's looking at the town burn, Madam Banshee says, hey, we got to take off. Those Razormen are going to be done pretty soon. And it says that Jonah Hex laughed all the way to Mexico. So he got some good revenge there. This Generation Hex letter page here is very silly. It's almost positing this alternate reality where Western comics are big in the 90s, and also that it's like mutants are big in Westerns. One of the titles is Weird Western Mutant Tales. All-Star X Westerns is another one. And these are just very silly. The funniest one, though, is they reference Pow Wow Boom Boom Smith, which is DC's Western character Pow Wow Smith, and the Marvel mutant Boom Boom. I just thought that was so silly. And then there's El Papamondo, who's DC's El Papagayo and Marvel's Mondo. So I think on the letter page, Peter Milligan let himself get extra silly. And there's some really ridiculous ones here that are just very laughable and goofy. The Six Gun Triplicate Kid. God, these guys are having fun. I wanted to mention in the second round, they go even a step further into nerdiness. So at the time, the main editors at Marvel was Mark Grunwald. At DC was Mike Carlin. So the supposed editor of Amalgam Comics is M.M. Carwald. And even the letter pages mash up the letter writers' names, either professionals or even fan writers, letter hacks, which I thought was like, that's super beyond the pale of nerdiness. So now we have Lobo the Duck. Yes, just let it roll over your tongue. Lobo the Duck. Such a dumb idea. I'm so glad they did it, though. This is written by Alan Grant, the co-creator of Lobo. Val Samikes does the pencils, and Ray Krissing does the inks. Trapped in a world he never fragged. And this one is kind of interesting because it does almost try to capture the existentialist weirdness of Gerber's Howard the Duck. There's something very weird going on in this comic. Let's look at it. We'll see. So we start off with Lobo the Duck. He's calling out for Beverly, who I guess, I didn't know the DC analog of this, but it's Beverly, for Howard the Duck's girlfriend. And then it's mixed up with this woman from DC. Let me find it real quick. Someone named Darlene Spritzer. But it's strange because the Marvel character is Beverly Switzler. So, just by synchronicity, these two names kind of mashed up. So, all of a sudden, Lobo the Duck looks out. Manhattan is trashed, like post-apocalyptic style. And he's like, what the hell's happened? He seems like he's lost his memory. The whole comic is just trying to remember what happened. So it has this very kind of bizarre, almost Gerber-like feel to it. And, of course, the note tells us that he mentions that he was hanging out with the Offending Society, which is the Defenders of the Justice Society. And, of course, the story took place in Giant-Sized Bat Thing, number 69. So Bat Thing is another comic in this round of amalgams. I got rid of it years ago. It did look kind of cool. It's Bat Man-Bat, and Man-Thing. So, of course, he's throwing in all these other references to other Amalgam comics. And then he looks over, he sees Dr. Strangefate's battered helmet. So he doesn't know what the hell's going on. Lobo the Duck has, his companion is Impossible Dog, who's a mix of Lobo's dog and the Impossible Man. So he's just changing costumes every few seconds. And this is the weird thing, is his costumes are actual Marvel and DC characters, not amalgamated. And Lobo actually says, like, he recognizes this. He says, what the hell? My fragging dog is changing into characters that don't even exist in this universe. So in Lobo, he often would, like, break the fourth wall. So in this, he does that too, you know. He seems to know that these costumes are from another universe. The big villain is Dr. Bongface. So it's Dr. Bong and Scarface. Just ridiculous. There's dead superheroes everywhere. So Lobo just goes to get a drink at Al Forbish's Subterranean Diner. And we see him there. And I love this combo because it's all based on the pot hat. You know, the cooking pot. So this is Forbish Man mixed with Ma Hunkel, their first Red Tornado from the golden age of DC. I thought that was pretty clever. And then in through the door walks Ambush the Lunatic, which is Ambush Bug and Lunatic from the David Kraft run of the Defenders. He starts getting in Lobo's face, and Lobo beats the shit out of him. Not only does he beat the shit out of him, he actually starts eating him, puts ketchup on his arm and starts chowing down, and eats the whole guy. These two chicks are totally thrilled by what he did and charmed by him. We'll find out in this comic. Lobo the Duck seems to be very attractive to women. I don't know why. Here's another sense of, like, the Gerber-like weirdness of this comic. We see these two workers at high-tech gravity labs, and one of them is looking at us and says, you readers out there don't realize how lucky you are. You have life, liberty, and the ability to pursue happiness. But me and my buddy here, we're working stiffs, created on a whim. Patsies who'll be rubbed out after a few brief panels of life, just to emphasize how bad the bad guys are. And of course, the bad guys come in. One of them says, I have a wife and kids. They vaporize him. And then the other guy who was talking to us says, kill me. You know, do your worst. You're going to kill me anyway. It's the only reason I exist. And, of course, they kill him. And, they drag him away to get information out of him. Now we're back in Forbish's bar, and Beverly shows up. Meanwhile, Impossible Dog is still changing into Marvel DC characters. So, Beverly walks in on Lobo being macked on by these two ladies. And suffice to say, she's outraged. She wallops Lobo. She scares off the women and then tells him, we're through. I hate you, you feckless duck. I hate you. But she's crying as she says it, so she's stuck on him. There's a lot of just weird shit in this. This is the most non-linear of the Amalgam comics. It's really just Alan Grant just going cuckoo, just throwing shit around. It just doesn't really make sense. I don't think he cares that it does. So apparently he's on the trail of the Kidley Lady, and it's only called that, this villain is called that because it was someone with a speech impediment. And we'll find out who that is in a second. And then he runs into Jonas Turnip, who is the Space Turnip, and DC's Jonas Glim. I have no idea who that is. Gamora, who is Gamora, from, the cosmic Marvel comics, and DC Princesses Shaula. Don't know who that is either. But this one is funny as hell. Billy the Millie, who is Billy the girl from, I believe, The Invisibles, and Millie the model. It was very zany. You can just picture all these writers just chuckling as they're writing this shit. Just be like, I can't believe I'm doing something so stupid. So all of a sudden, Jonas Turnip gets a somebody shoots him through the face with an arrow because he's about to spill the beans. Gives some information to Lobo. It's his brother, Daryl Rutabaga. They get in this big fight, and Lobo the Duck and the two women go off to canoodle. Of course, that's when Beverly shows up again to take Lobo back. She misses him, and once again she finds him with two hot women, and once again she wallops poor Lobo. Well, not poor Lobo, he's a jerk. And then storms off. Lobo's still trying to figure out what's going on. He still doesn't have his memory. And then we see this rally in a stadium, and it's the Gold Kidney Lady. Now, this is Howard the Duck's villain, the Kidney Lady, and it's also this DC character called Gold Star. I have no clue who that is. And, you know, her fanatical legions are all chanting her phrases. It's like a cult. And she basically wants to purify the world. And just like the Kidney Lady. And Lobo the Duck shows up with his cool, it looks like something Daffy Duck would drive around in Duck Dodgers. He's got this cool craft, and he's blowing everyone away. And he kills the Gold Kidney Lady. But as the Gold Kidney Lady dies, she hits this lever, which draws the moon closer to Earth and will totally destroy Earth. And that's how we end, and of course we'll never find out what happened. So here's an example. On the letter pages, there's someone named Alan Gerber. And even fanboy letter hacks. Olav Sperling, Charles J. Beamer. So it's just so dorky. Roger Giffen. And a lot of them are shout-outs to the creators of the character. So, you know, Roger Sliffer created Lobo with Keith Giffen. So he gets a little shout-out. Okay, where are we now? Thorian of the New Gods. Kind of a clunky mouthful there. But, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was going to do this one first. Challengers of the Fantastic. And this is another Carl Kessel one. So this is just like crazy packed with so many nerdy references. It's insane. The cover here is by Tom Grummett and Inker Alve. Very John Byrne-like. And this is a mashup of the Challengers of the Unknown and the Fantastic Four, which almost sounds redundant because basically Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four kind of based on the Challengers of the Fantastic motif that he created a few years earlier. So we have Sue Ace Storm, Reed Prof Richards, Johnny Red Storm, who I don't know why he's called Red. I don't know why they couldn't have given him red hair, and Ben Rocky Grimm, Two-Fisted Senator. So these guys live at Project Cadmus, as we saw in that Superboy comic. That's where their base is, and they're adventurers. So we see the origin of them. They were in space testing a new craft, the four Challengers, before they became the Challengers. Their colleague, Victor Von Doom, was on Earth, directing the mission. Rocky Grimm mentions that, hey guys, I didn't mention this until now, but when we get home, the president's going to officially declare us heroes, and we're going to have to do this huge press tour. All of a sudden, Victor Von Doom is full of jealousy. And he's like, what? They're going to get all the glory? Fuck that. And he hits this button, which sabotages the mission. Seems a little crazy there, that would drive him to ruin the mission. So they land, but there's no cosmic rays. They don't get strange powers. But just like the Challengers, they realize they have a second lease on life and they shouldn't waste it. And they should spend it bettering mankind. They put all their hands in, just like in the Fantastic Four, that famous panel. But one of them notices that, hey, it almost looks like an hourglass. So this is the kind of stuff Carl Kessel does. He just really packs this with, he really mixes up all the references. He's a super nerd. Also, I didn't really mention this, but it's the same art team from the cover as the art team inside. So it's Grummett and Vey. So now we see Senator Rocky Grimm dealing with this international conflict. Apparently, Gorilla City's gone communist, and we have Comrade Grodd, Congo Red, and the Red Ghost. I never understood how the Red Ghost is a human, but he's always throwing in his lot with simians. But I love this guy's look. They squeeze in Moon Boy from Devil Dinosaur. And apparently they want to take over Wakanda. They think all of Africa should be run by gorillas. And we see the Bronze Tiger here, the leader of Wakanda, which I don't get this, why he's not the Bronze Panther or the Black Tiger. It's very kind of missed opportunity. Shit, guys, once again, I'm nerdy out, and sorry. But I really get into this stuff once I start reading them. And I'm just like, why'd you make that choice? So Rocky gets called away by the challengers. Meanwhile, Reed's in his lab. He's just discovered Universe 2. So this is Carl Kessel. This is so super nerdy. I guess he wanted to have a new universe and Earth 2 combination. So in Universe 2, the heroic age began during World War II with groups such as Spitfire and the Blackhawks. And then it continued into the present day with groups like Infinite Kickers, Inc. Like, this is how nerdy Carl Kessel is being. I just can't imagine, like, these writers they must have, like, just sat around for days getting drunk with, like, some Who's Who, DC's Who's Who, and the Marvel Handbook. And just, like, had a great time coming up with all these goofy ideas. Meanwhile, Red Storm is hanging out with his little clone stormtrooper, playing video games, but he's really pining for his lost love, Dream Crystal. Dream Crystal is part of a group called the Unhumans, which is the Forever People and the Inhumans mashed up. So we have Dream Crystal, who is Beautiful Dreamer and Crystal. Big Gorgon, who is Gorgon and, I forgot the other guy's name. Whatever, you can do the math. Medusa Moonrider. And this is the one that's so goofy. Triceratops. So I guess they didn't want to have another character, so they mushed up two Inhumans and one Forever person into this guy. So it's Triton and Karnak from the Inhumans and Seraphan from the Forever People. And it's funny because in at least 2 letters on the various letter pages, people write in and say, you got to get rid of that Triceratops. That's the stupidest character ever. So they knew that this was ridiculous, and they probably were laughing their heads off, and they're like, yeah, we got to put that in. And then we have Lockbrute, who is Lockjaw, the Inhuman's dog, and Brute from Kirby's Run on Sandman. Yes, completely obscure shit. It's insane. So now they all go to this, they heed the call. Ace Storm has called them all together because Uatu the Guardian has showed up. Obviously the Watcher and one of the Green Lantern Guardians. And he tells them, he's like, I'm here to warn you. Galactiac is coming. It's Galactus and Brainiac. So he's come to suck the energies out of Earth. And then the challengers go to June Masters. She also works at Project Cadmus. She's a blind robot expert. So it's Alicia Masters and some DC character, I assume, who knows about robots. I'll see if I can find it for my fellow nerds out there. I guess it's June Robbins, whoever that is in DC. So they head over to June Masters' lab. She tells them that the computer has calculated that, yes, there's a very small chance you can defeat Galactiac, but one of the challengers will die. It seems beyond the purview of a computer's predictions. But they're like, well, if that's the way it is, we got to stop him. There's the Fantasta Wagon again, as we saw in Spider-Boy. And When they get to the Fantastic Wagon, they look around. All of the employees of Project Cadmus are knocked out. And they're not dead, though. And all of a sudden, the Silver Racer shows up. The Asgardian avatar of death. So it's obviously Silver Surfer and the Black Racer. So he shows up. He says, I have nothing to do with these guys. I didn't kill him. I'm here for one person in particular. So they figure, okay, he's waiting around for one of us to die. Now we see Galactiac. Pretty much just looks like Galactus with Brainiac's face. He's made this kind of energy dome over the top of this, whatever, fantastic mountain or this Cadmus building. And so the challengers confront him. Prof. Richards tries to reason with him. He says, why don't you find another planet to suck dry without, sentient life on it? And he says, well, you don't understand. I don't just, suck the energy from planets. I also preserve one little part of it. And I shrink it down, just like Brainiac did with the Bottle City of Kandor. So he picks Manhattan. And of course, they're like, that's not good enough. You're not taking anything. So Uatu the Guardian, shows up and whisks Johnny and his little stormtrooper away. He's going to intervene. He's not supposed to. Meanwhile, June Masters is talking to the the Silver Racer. And just like in our reality, Marvel's reality, when Alicia Masters got through to the Silver Surfer, it's the same thing is happening here. So Ben Grimm attacks the machine that Galactiac is building to suck the Earth dry. And Galactiac hits him with these force beams. And meanwhile, across town, we see Dr. Doomsday watching all these events, waiting for his moment to strike. God, listen how nerdy this is, guys. The radio is saying, stunning shots of the battle by Vicky Sheldon. So that's Vicky Vale and Phil Sheldon from Marvels, the two journalists. It's insane. Carl Kessel, man. I want to hang out with that guy and nerd out with him one day. So now we see what the Galactiac's beam has done to Rocky Grimm. It's turned him into a thing, but a four-armed thing like the DNA alien from the New Gods. So it's a little mashup there, and he's brainless and violent. He's attacking his fellow challengers. Meanwhile, we see little Johnny Stormtrooper inside of Galactiac, causing as much damage as he can. He's like trying to hurt him from within. Meanwhile, the Thing keeps chasing our heroes around. And Prof shows up and rescues Ace Storm from the Thing. He got Dr. Otto Octavius's arms because he's not using them. He's unconscious. And so it's just kind of a nice little resonance of Mr. Fantastic's powers. So, of course, Prof has a plan like he always does. And basically that plan is to lead the Thing to Galactiac's machine so he can destroy it. The Silver Racer shows up. And then Rocky Grimm is back into his normal human form. I guess Johnny's shenanigans within Galactiac have worked. And Galactus is too weak to exact retribution. His head pops off and flies off into outer space. So they won. Here's an ironic little thing. Grimm says, Prof, I remember being that Thing, and I was thinking if you could change me back into it somehow with me in control, it would be a perfect defense for, stopping shit like this. And Prof is like, I'll get to work on that, my friend. So it's the exact opposite of every issue of Fantastic Four, So Johnny shows up, a little worse for the wear, but victorious. And Rocky says, well, at least that computer program is wrong. None of us died. And Johnny pulls out of his pack. He says, well, one of us did. The Stormtrooper died, the clone. So he died a hero, though. Saved the Earth. Meanwhile, across town, we see the the Silver Racer being assaulted by someone. And it's Dr. Doomsday, and he steals his powers and heads over to attack the challenges of the Fantastic. That's our cliffhanger. Just like Dr. Doom did that to the Silver Surfer in one of those issues. Once again, the letter page is just chock full of crazy, nerdy amalgamations. As if it wasn't hard enough coming up with them for the comic. They go the extra mile and make up new ones. So now we have Spider-Boy Team Up. This is another one that's got like 3 pages of goddamn footnotes. It's crazy. Let me get to the page here. So I'm going to need help. So this one is one of the better ones because it has beautiful art by Ladrönn. But I don't know if you guys know Ladrönn, but I think he's one of the best mainstream guys to pop up in the past 30 years. He's got this amazing, like, European style almost, but also fused with Kirby. Very Kirby-like homages in his art. And he's just too weird for, like, Marvel, but he drew for Marvel for years. And I guess at this time he was still. And I really like his stuff. So, Spider-Boy Team Up featuring the Legion of Galactic Guardians 2099. Kind of a mouthful, but it gives Carl Kessel and Roger Stern a lot of opportunities to make up a lot of zany characters. So they wrote this, and look how they're totally getting into the spirit of the thing. It says R.K. Sternzel, writer. They mashed up their own names. Ladrönn's the penciler, Juan Velasco is the inker. And the inks are pretty damn nice in this too, so I should, give him a little mention. So we start off, Spider-Boy is fighting the Scavulture, which is such a terrible name. I guess there's a DC character called Scavenger. But look at this art, guys. There's like some Jeff Darrow, like, crazy, needless detail in here. It looks really good to me, this art. It's really nice. The title is called Too Many Heroes, Too Little Time. And that's pretty apropos. So once again, every panel has got a reference to some fake amalgamated character. He happens to land in a dumpster on Suicide Street, which is Suicide Slum and Yancey Street. He just off the cuff mentions General Annihilus stuck in the Phantom Negative Zone. So it's General Zod and Annihilus who are both stuck in their respective zones. But as he falls into this dumpster, he loses his web shooter gun, and he can't find it. And then all of a sudden, he sees this kid running away with his web shooter. He chases after him, but the Scavulture attacks him again. And it looks like he's going to deliver the killing blow from this I-beam thing he has. And all of a sudden, this cube shows up, wraps itself around Spider-Boy, and whisks him away. We cut away to his manager, that guy Leech. We also see the other people at Project Cadmus, Dr. Otto Octavius. Look how weird this his style gets for this guy's face. It's almost like it's kind of trying to be like Kirby, but also kind of failing. Like, that's kind of not good right there. But for the most part, it's really nice, his art. And then the Silver Racer shows up. A little cameo. It even mentions, check out Challenges of the Fantastic #1 for more in this story. So now we're back to Spider-Boy, who's been whisked to the future of 2099. And he's in the headquarters of the Legion of Galactic Guardians. Guys, this is so interesting to me. This looks totally like Starstruck, Mike Kaluta. These designs, I would totally think that's Mike Kaluta there. It's very interesting, his disparate influences, this artist. It's just such a weird fusion. So he meets I'll just call them the Legion. And they're basically Legion of Superiors characters mashed up with various Marvel characters. And I'm not going to tell you all of these ones, guys. There's just so many. But I will point out the most silly ones. There's one guy called Growing Boy, which I thought was hilarious. That's basically a colossal boy and It the Living Colossus. And we'll realize later on the name. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to give it away. Never mind. But I love this one. Timberwolf by Night. Paste Eater Pete, which is Matter Eater Lad, and Paste Pot Pete. Just so many. Bouncing Ball is Speedball and Bouncing Boy. That one kind of works pretty good. It's just so ridiculous. Martin X5, Martin X from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Brainiac 5. I just can't believe this must have been at least a night full of drinking, just making up these names. Really obscure ones too. Universe Boy, so it's Captain Universe. And I don't even know the DC character. Oh, Ultra Boy. So this is kind of a weird part of the story. As soon as they bring him there, they're like, oh shit, you can't stay long because it'll cause a complete chronal collapse if you stay here longer than 10 minutes. So it seems kind of weird that they'd bring him to the future just to risk this horrible thing. So like, we got to get you out of here quick. And then, but all of a sudden, right then, the Frightful Five attack. So that's the Fatal Five, the Legion's villain, and the Frightful Four combined. And they got a guy named Valinus, who is Validus and Terminus. They've got Man Orb, who I don't even know who that is. But, I guess it's DC's Mano and Marvel's Orb. I don't know who those people are. This guy's some kind of Deathlock mashup. And we have this guy Spartacus, who is a gladiator, Daredevil's longtime foe. And DC's the Persuader, who I have no idea who that is either. But man, this is some fun, I don't know, crazy Kirby meets Euro Comics art. So this delays Spider Boy's departure in time. So the chronal collapse begins. Finally, he gets it back into that time cube with the help of this mysterious guy who don't know who that is. And this is like a super deep cut. He's sent 5 years later into the future. And it's a nod to that Legion of Superheroes run that Keith Giffen masterminded, where they were in this dystopian future where everything went to shit, basically, in the Legion universe. So we see all the Legion, they're older, it's all gritty. It's almost like he's trying to ape that weird Keith Giffen style of the late 80s that he adopted. And they're saying basically, like, you got to go back and fix things. You caused this. This chronal collapse basically ruined the universe. So he jumps back in the time cube. And everything's different. It's like kind of a reset button. So the design of the Legion's headquarters is different. Still kind of looks like Kaluta to me. And all the heroes are mashed up differently. So not only did they make 30 characters 4 pages ago, now they do it all over again because he's in a slightly different universe. And we see even more of these kooky characters. And there's Living Colossus. And basically it's the same characters we just saw, just remashed up. And nothing as funny as Timberwolf by Night, though. So now, of course, Spider-Boy's the only one who knows that this has happened already. And he says, hey guys, I gotta get out of here. I don't want a chronal collapse. So with the help of whatever the hell this guy who looks like Electro is, Electro Lad, he goes back through time, back to his normal time period, where he's still fighting the Skavulture. And then the art kind of gets less Kirby-ish, even though there's plenty of Kirby in it. But it's almost like he goes back to the more detailed style. So then that guy, the kid who stole his web gun, shows up. That little kid. And he helps Spider-Boy fight Skavulture. And then the Legion show up in our time. So it's very, very convoluted, very confusing. They defeat the Skavulture. But that kid with the gun, the spider gun, turns out his name is Mig-El. So this is Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man of 2099 in the normal Marvel universe. Well, the 2099 universe. And he says, we got to get him to Project Cadmus. He's dying. So they get to Project Cadmus. All the doctors aren't there right now. So he puts him into the Phantom Negative Zone. The Legion tell him he'll be there for 100 years. He's like, what? I don't want him to be stranded for 100 years. It's like, no, you don't understand. This was the whole plot the whole time. We came back to make sure that Miguel entered the Phantom Negative Zone because 100 years from now, he's going to pop out and become one of the greatest Legion members of all time. Spider-Boy 2099. So it's a little confusing. And then this guy shows up, Kang the Time Conqueror. Obviously, Kang and Time Trapper mixed up. And this is kind of interesting. He grabs him and starts yanking him apart. It seems like Kang knows that this amalgam universe isn't the real one. There's two separate universes. And he starts yanking him apart, so we see Spider-Man and Superboy. He's basically yanking their dimensional counterparts out of the amalgamated universe version. But then Spider-Man 2099 from the future shows up and saves the day. When they unmask Kang, they say, it's Kronos Tut, the Time Pharaoh. And strangely enough, Ladrönn draws him like a Jack Kirby version of Richard Nixon. So it's Kronos and Ramatut, the Time Pharaoh. So the art gets really gnarly here. Look at this craziness here. And that panel, it's so weird that Ladrönn is like a beloved Marvel artist to me. He just seems like he's got this totally unique sensibility, and you'd think that Marvel would be like, no, you can't do shit like this, like weird panels like that. We don't like it. So the Legion and Spider-Boy 2099 go back to the future, and all's well that ends well. Of course, I'm not mentioning probably 18 references they make to other amalgam characters. And we get this bonus pinup by Ladrönn. And once again, guys, this looks so much like late era Kaluta to me and Jeff Darrow kind of mushed up. Just beautiful pinup here. Really nice. Okay, now we have Thorian of the Asgods. Very clunky title there. This is a cover and interior art by John Romita Jr., pencils and inks. And I gotta say, not a fan of John Romita Jr., never have been. I don't understand why he's considered this fan favorite. Never liked his stuff, but I kind of like this. This very rough-hewn art in here that looks pretty damn good to me. This is written by Keith Giffen, by the way. So pretty nice cover. This is obviously Thor and Orion. So we see the old gods, basically Asgard, but Ragnarok is happening, the end days. And we see all these demons under the command of Surtur the demon. They're all attacking Asgard. And they make it all the way to Odin Highfather's chamber. See what I was talking about with this art? It's almost like Joe Kubert. So they confront Odin Highfather. He says, know this. On this day, Odin struck a long bargain for alliance. This day will not bring an ending, but a new beginning. Behold the source. So it's already mashing up Thor, the classical Norse myths, and Jack Kirby's new god mythology. So the source, basically a giant hand comes out and grabs Asgard and all these demons and basically starts a new universe. So now we see a year after that. And now we finally meet Thorian. And he's got his hammer, but doesn't control lightning and thunder. It controls the Astro Force. That's from the New Gods. This is like some Frank Miller looking stuff going on here. I think this looks great. I really like it, which I'm very surprised to be liking a John Romita Jr. comic. So this might be a reason why art is different than most of his art. It says Digital Chameleon Inks. So I think this is one of those things where John Romita Jr. did very heavy pencils, and they just used a computer to like thicken the lines so it would register at the printing press. And because something is different about this art than normal. It looks great. I really like it. So basically, Thorian was defending New Asgard. Is that what it's called? I don't know. From these demons attacking. They were trying to get more slaves for Thanos' and Thorian frees them from these cocoons. And it's those bug characters from the New Gods. I don't know if they're mashed up with Marvel characters, but suffice to say, Thorian goes back, heads back home. Now we see Theta's side, Dark Side and Thetis. And here's his lackey, Loki Desad. Loki Desad, And Loki suggests that they use the Mother Cube, the all-powerful Mother Cube. And Dark Thanos' says, not even I can wield the full power of the cube without the power consuming me. Do you still wish to use it? And of course, Loki is just so power mad. He's like, yeah, I don't care. Even though it'll probably consume me. So back in New Asgard, that's what it's called, sorry, not New Asgard. He says hello to his buddy, Balder Lightbringer. And he goes to say hi to his dad, Odin Highfather. So Odin Highfather tells them about how this great threat, the Promethean giants, and it's a mix of New Gods characters like Calabac, Jack Kirby created characters in Thor like Mangog, and classic Norse demons like Surtur. And they're all chained to this ego mass, it's called. So it's almost like, imagine Ego the Living Planet and these giant titanic demons and whatever, demigods, all chained to it. I love this image. This is kind of powerful. Like, it's got this almost mythic resonance to it. Like, is this some old myth? Nice 2-page spread. And then Loki Desad shows up. Man, that's a great looking panel of me. And he's bearing the Mother Cube, he's wielding it, and he attacks his brother Thorian. So all those demons have been freed from the ego mass, and they're also basically trying to bring around another Ragnarok. But then Thorian, uses his powers, sucks in the power of the Mother Cube, defeats all these demons, but in doing so, he's gone, seemingly dead. We see his friends and his enemies either mourning him or cursing him. And then we find out that he's not quite dead. His spirit has taken the ship and armor. Has fashioned his shield and his armor from the ego mass, and his form from the giants that were once bound there. And now he shall forevermore be known as the Celestial. So I guess after the first issue of Thorian's own comic, after years of being not having his own comic, he's dead by the first issue and is now the Celestial. So kind of an interesting, weird ending, but a nice shout out to yet another Jack Kirby creation. I think I mentioned this, how these letters pretend like the Amalgam universe has been going on for, since the 40s, 50s, 60s. So they do mention like, oh, I hear that Thorian's getting his own title. He's been appearing in Journey into Forever. That's the mashup title. And they do mention Thorian's romantic interest, Big Sif, which is a terrible name, but Lady Sif and Big Barda. Last but not least is Dark Claw Adventures. So this I thought was pretty funny that they did this there. So in the first round, they had Darkclaw, who was Batman and Wolverine, mashed up. And they figured, well, he's part Batman, and this is one of our popular comics, the animated version of Batman. So we'll do Darkclaw Adventures. And they even get the two guys who did all those great animated comics, Ty Templeton and Rich Burchett, to draw it. So this really looks like some alternate reality comic for kids, you know. So we start off with Patch Malone. So this is the mashup of Matches Malone, who is Bruce Wayne's character when he wants to get information from the underworld, his kind of undercover character, and Patch, which Wolverine has that alter ego for the same reason. So he's in this seedy bar playing poker, trying to get some info. And these cyber ninja assassins show up. Ty Templeton is the writer and does the breakdowns. Rick Burchett does all the finishes and inks. And Linda Medley does the colors, the great cartoonist of Castle Waiting fame. So these cyber ninja assassins start messing with Logan. And when he realizes that they're mostly artificial limbs and cybernetic parts, he cuts loose because he doesn't have to worry about killing them. And he just thrashes them. So Sparrow comes to pick him up, his sidekick. I like this how she's going na 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 Darkclaw. That was a cute little thing there. She picks up Logan, and Logan realizes that Lady Talia is back. They work for her. So now we see Lady Talia. She's watching Logan on this video. And she says, my beloved. So Lady Talia is Talia al Ghul mashed up with Lady Deathstrike. And in this reality, her father is Ra's Apocalypse, which is pretty silly. So it's Apocalypse and Ra's al Ghul. That was her dad, the mashup of them. We have a flashback how Logan was once fighting Ra's Apocalypse. He was trying to, he had a virus that was going to kill all of the world's mutants. Of course, Logan has to stop him. Ra's was flying away, and Logan had no choice, but he got the Stinger missile and took him down, took down the plane, killing Ra's in the process. Talia ran to the plane, even though it was on fire, ran inside trying to rescue her father. And she burned off like 90% of her body skin. So that's why she has had this surgery. So she has adamantium and this weird, like her hands can grow like Lady Deathstrike. So even though she loves Logan, she's like, I'm dedicating my life to killing him now. He must die. So now we go back to Logan and Sparrow. They get back to the Barrow, Darkclaw's Batcave, if you will. I love this, how you can clearly see the coin now, and it's a Canadian nickel with the beaver on it. I thought that was great, because of Logan, you know. So Sparrow's just like, man, whenever Lady Talia's involved, you always get a little careless. You always get a little wonky. And he's just like, don't worry about it. I'm fine. Prepare the danger cave. And she's like, what? You're going to hang out here in the Barrow? You're not going to go out there? You're falling to pieces. And he says, I know what I'm doing. I really like that they actually got Ty Templeton and Rich Burchett to do these, because it looks just like those animated comics. So the danger room is the danger cave is obviously the danger room. And we get to see some more amalgamations in the danger, the holograms that attack him. We see Harvey Osborn, the Two-Faced Goblin. Once again, the nerd in me is like, why not Harvey Dent? I'm sorry, Harry Dent, or vice versa. We see Cybercroc. We see Blood Crow, who I guess is DC's Scarecrow and Marvel's Bloodscream. I have no idea who Bloodscream is. I think that's after my time. Hyena from the first issue. Spiral Harley, That's kind of a lazy one. And the Omega Beast, who is the KG Beast and Omega Red mixed up. And Logan takes care of all of them. I mean, they're just holograms. But then Lady Talia has tracked him down and has entered the burrow. She's infiltrated his lair, and she attacks him. Darklaw is basically trying to talk her down and just say, Talia, this is ridiculous, you know? You're a mutant. Your father's virus was going to kill you. And she's like, I don't believe you. So he's trying to reason with her, but she's not hearing it. And she runs him right through. Logan falls over. We see that she's already tied up Sparrow. And Sparrow says, are you going to kill me too? And she says, no, you're an innocent. Because Lady Talia's kind of, you know, just like Talia in the DC universe, has this kind of noble side. So then she realizes that, you know, her father's dead. The love of her life is dead. She killed him. She's going to kill herself. She rips off her own hand and is going to stab herself in the chest. But then Logan says, oh, I'm still alive. So she runs over, cradles him in his arms, and he basically tells her, he says, you know, I've dedicated my life to getting revenge on the guy who killed my parents. But I realized that if I ever did, it would go two ways. One of two ways. Either I wouldn't kill him, or I'd regret for the rest of my life that I had. So Darklaw knows that, you know, vengeance doesn't really help. In fact, it sends you down a bad road when you start killing people, even if they deserve it. And so they have this tender moment, and then Sparrow chimes in with, hey, could someone untie me? And that's the end. That's a pretty decent comic, like, even if it wasn't this goofy amalgam thing. I was a big fan of those Batman animated cartoons. They were very simple for kids, but I think the stories in there were better than the average Batman comics at the time. I'd rather watch, you know, I thought they had better plots and better stories. So they don't mention much in the letter page here. And I guess that's it for this run of Amalgam Comics, at least my run, because I got rid of a bunch of them. But I did want to show you guys something. I just wanted to point out, one of the comics I got rid of years ago was, I believe it's X-Patrol. And I was looking at the list, and these are just so ridiculous. I kind of regret getting rid of this comic, because I'm going to just read off a few of them. Black Orchid the Unknown, an amalgamation of DC's Black Orchid and Marvel's Omega the Unknown. Shang Prez, Master of Kung Fu, an amalgamation of DC's Prez Ricard and Marvel's Shang-Chi. The Sea Devil Dinosaurs, it's kind of obvious. Dead Devil, the Man Without Life, an amalgamation of Dead Man and Daredevil. Oh my God, so now I think I have to buy this, or at least find it on the internet, because this is just, sounds hilarious. So yeah, I don't have that comic, but I did want to mention these ridiculous amalgamations they had in there. So that's it for Amalgam, probably forever, guys. I don't think these are never going to be brought back, because they're co-owned by Marvel and DC. So it would take both of their cooperation to even just to reprint these. So if you ever find these in dollar bins, and if you like some of the ones I've shown off, snatch them up, because you'll never get to see them again. So thanks for indulging me, guys, once again, in my nerdly ways. But I had a great time looking at these again, and I'll probably never get rid of these, because every year I want to take them off the shelf and check them out and nerd out. Hope you guys felt the same way. Hope you had fun looking at them, and I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.